Okie dokie, folks, and welcome back to Monday Night Shaw right here on Love Wrestling. I am the Canadian Goose, aka Kyle Shaw, and I want to thank you for joining me on the show today. On today's show, my special guest is none other than one of my RCW tag team partners. It is a guy that's recently moved out here from British Columbia to Alberta, and me and Sid Greed have adopted him into our little group of misfits, and so I'm very happy and pleased to welcome Chucky Lee Ray. So, Chucky, how are you doing, buddy?
Good. Yeah, it's definitely been a pretty wild ride. Going from BC to Alberta here, and it's definitely being part of the group with you and Sid and whatnot. It's definitely been a blast for sure.
Yeah, no, I'm happy to have you. When I heard that you were coming out here, like, because I saw, like, oh, Chucky Lee Ray is coming, and I didn't really know who you were or what to expect. And then, like, Squig met me, and he was like, oh, Kyle, you and Chucky, you're gonna get along great. He reminds me so much of you, like, back when you first started wrestling, and like, just like the attitude and stuff. And then I met you, and I was like, oh, I could see what he's talking about, you know. And yeah, no, I think you've been incredibly positive and gung ho about helping out everybody. Like your goal in every match is to make the other guy look great. So,
Oh, absolutely.
yeah, like I think that 100%. I'm very happy to be associated with you. Um, where did it all start for you, bud? Like, when did you get the itch to become a professional wrestler?
Well, growing up, my stepdad, because I never had a father growing up and whatnot. So
Oh,
I had my stepdad and whatnot, and growing up, he was always in the professional wrestling and whatnot. So I would always watch wrestling with him and whatnot, and then yeah, like guys like Stone Cold, uh, Kurt Angle, and like Ultimate Warrior, and all those guys who really got me really inspired and whatnot to actually wanna do this and actually have tons of fun with it. And then when I saw John Cena come out, that even sparked it even more and whatnot. So
yeah. Who is your favorite wrestler?
right now it's John Cena, even though he's not
Oh,
active right now, but.
that's a good pick, man. I know, like, John Cena gets a lot of hate, but it's none of it's warranted. He was by far the hardest working wrestler in the world for a very long time. So, like,
Absolutely.
I have all the respect in the world for John Cena and whatnot. I have no doubt about that. So, how did you transition from being a fan to getting actually involved? Like, at what point did you find the means to be like, oh, independent wrestling exists, and I'm going to make the effort to get involved in that.
Well, it's actually kind of a funny story. I I grew up in Brooks, Alberta, and
Oh, okay, that's not that far from here. That's just south of Calgary, right?
yeah, and there was PZW, which was Power Zone Wrestling back then,
Okay.
and now it's PPW, which is Pure Power Wrestling,
Oh, right
and
on with
whatnot. Don
Sydney Steele.
Sebastian and Sydney Steele and them, yeah. But yeah, anyways, Power Zone Wrestling would come to Brooks and whatnot, and me, my mom, my cousins and whatnot would go and watch it. And I even told my cousin, and everybody was like, one of these days it's gonna be me in the middle of that ring.
Yeah.
And my family was the only ones that really believed in me. I would say that to my teachers, and they're like, oh, that's not an actual job, that's not an actual career, all this. And then I'm always the type to actually prove people wrong and whatnot. And I told them, I was like, it's gonna happen.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
no, it's like for a long time, like, at least I know for myself, like, I like, because I'm 38 now, and so, like, I put it off for a very long time, just not believing that I had the ability to do it. And then, like, it was a mindset thing. Like, somebody clued me into this, like, thing about mindsets, and I just changed my mindset and was like, you know what, I'm just going to put in the effort and do what it takes. And now I get to wrestle, and it's so much. I'm so happy that I did. You know.
Yeah,
So,
well, definitely starting my career. I'm actually kind of proud on how my career has been going because uh I did say earlier how I grew up without a father, and just one day out of the blue, my father messaged me on Facebook wanting to get to know me and whatnot and stuff like that, and I was like, yeah, absolutely, why not? So when I was living in Brooks, he came down. I was probably maybe like, I don't know, 16, 17 at the time,
mhm.
and yeah, and so came down and got to see each other for a little bit, and then yeah, and then we just continued talking on Facebook and on the phone, and then in 2016, he told me that I can get into wrestling up in Kelowna, British Columbia. So I was like, okay. So I moved up to Kelowna, British Columbia, and because he told me to talk to Shreds and whatnot, and that Shreds should be able to help me get into wrestling and whatnot.
Okay.
Uh, so I went up there and I messaged Shreds. I was like, so I was told uh, that there's wrestling that I could possibly be a part of and whatnot. He's like, yeah, message Mad Dog Mighty Sugar and whatnot. I was like, okay. So so I
Okay.
so I messaged Mad Dog and was like, yeah, there'll be training at Lake City Bowling here up in Kelowna and whatnot. Could come in, could sign a waiver and whatnot, and then can start your training and whatnot. And that's how it really happened.
Right on, buddy. So was Marty Sugar the guy that trained you?
Well, it was he did have a hand in training, but it was mostly Colin Cutler.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Solid. And then did you and Shreds get involved?
Well, Shreds would always still show up every once in a while to help with training and stuff like that, and so sometimes he would come to the show early while we're doing a little bit of training before the show and show us things and stuff like that. So everyone had a helping hand. Same with like Hal Sebastian and others and whatnot too, right? So
Awesome. Awesome. So what was like the most challenging part of the training for you?
oh, I'd probably say my cardio probably.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm very sympathetic to that. I understand completely. Wait, but I watched you last Friday night when you and Sid Greed wrestled against Nate and Vince, and I was your manager. And I watched you do like a big long spot with Nate where you were running the ropes and doing jumping over him and dropping down under him. And I was pretty impressed because you guys kept that going for like a fairly extended period of time, and I was impressed that not only were you able to completely do it without issue, but you finished like you went on to get your chest got the absolute hamburger smacked out of it, but you didn't seem to blow up, which I was very impressed by, because it's also like we're taping this a couple of days after that. I believe it is. What's the actual date today? August the, I don't know, 14th.
Yeah, it's
But
Sunday. Yeah.
so like it is brutally hot right now. We're in the throes of an Alberta summer, which Alberta winter is bad, but Alberta summer is also like the absolute opposite end of the extreme spectrum. So like just like I was managing that at that one, and I went out in a t-shirt and shorts because I was like, it is too hot. I can't, if I wear my full long sleeve gear and my long sleeve pants and stuff, I'm going to be dehydrated by the end of this managing gig, let alone wrestling. And you really impressed me, so I'm very happy about that.
Well, thank you.
Hey, no problem, buddy. When you when after your training, like when you did your training or whatever, did you train for like 3 months and then you like graduated and you were a wrestler, or was it a situation where you go down and you keep your training up every week, or how did that work?
Well, would because my I started training in 2017 and whatnot,
Okay.
and so we would just wrestle, like do training and whatnot, and then once we learn all the basics and everything else, we'd get like thrown into some matches, like practice matches and whatnot, to see how we
Okay.
do. And if we do good, then we'd be put in matches like full time and whatnot. So yeah, that's pretty much how it happened, and then just still continued it, coming in with doing training sessions with everybody and whatnot,
That's good. That's
and trying to
awesome,
get as
man.
much training in as much as possible. And
Yeah, yeah. I feel like it's important to try and stay practiced, you know?
oh yeah.
Um, I was gonna ask who was the first person that you actually did like when you had your first match? Like what was the match and whatnot? What was it like?
Oh, it was fun. It was a fair show up in Kelowna called Rutland Maydays, and
Okay, so it was like outdoor thing.
yeah, it was an outdoor like fair and whatnot, and yeah, it was me, uh, Mad Dog Muddy Sugar, and somebody who's now in ROH by the name of Clark Connors.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was us three versus Colin Cutler, Davey Deals, and and the guy named Michael McCaw.
Okay.
So it was a six-man tag, and that was the first match I've had, and my father and my stepmom was actually able to be there. So I, your boy pulled out the win, which is awesome.
That oh, in your first match, dude. I didn't win a
Yeah.
match for like a year. That's awesome. Good for you.
Yeah,
It sounds
and
like a
then
lot of fun too. I have never had the opportunity to do like a fair show or a festival or anything like that. The closest thing would be the I went and did the Lilac Resort show for CWE last year, which was at like a campground and stuff. And we had we did it. It was actually like they did it on iPay-per-view and stuff, so it was pretty cool. And there was like 2,000 people there, so it's definitely one of like the coolest experiences of my life. But I definitely would love to do more like festivals and outdoor events and stuff like that. Anytime we've had matches like outdoors and in the sun, it's usually a good time.
no, yeah.
So you wrestled with Marty Sugar and those guys. So were you with Big Time Wrestling for
No,
was that would that be your home promotion?
it was Big West Dressing.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So is that what you would consider your home promotion then?
Well, that's where Chucky Lee Ray was born.
Okay.
So because I didn't because when I had the first match, um, Marty said to told all of us to try and come up with a name, whatnot. So I had a list of at least 10 different names that I thought found pretty cool and whatnot, but I would read them out to a lot of people, and they're like, "Yeah, I don't know all this, all that,"
What were
and
some of the
then
names?
well, there was one that was like Moondog Manson, which apparently is already a wrestler's name that I didn't know about.
Yeah, that's
And
okay.
yeah, and then there, geez, that's the main one that I know the most of. I can't remember what the other ones are, but anyways, and then I was just watching one of the Chucky movies and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And the guy who becomes Chucky, his name's Charles Lee Ray, and my real name is Charles,
Hmm.
so I took Chucky Lee Ray.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So the
So
inspiration for your name is like from Child's Play, the film,
yeah,
eh?
you know,
So that's solid. I really like that. I mean, I'm kind of a sucker for cheesy horror films. Yeah, I finished watching the Chucky TV series too. It was
oh,
also
so
really
good.
good. Yeah, it was really some solid stuff there. Um, been very entertained, and I like your. I mean, it's gonna work, and I got some good ideas and stuff too, because me and you and Sid have kind of started calling ourselves like the good people and stuff, right? And
Heck
I know
yeah.
that Chucky is the good guy doll and stuff, so like I
Ah,
figured maybe we could just be
we're
the
so
good
perfect.
guys, and we'll just put that logo on a T-shirt or something, and
Right.
yeah, we'll try and sell them and make some money or something. Yeah, it'd be good. It'll be a good time, but yeah. So when you were wrestling with Thrash, like or not Thrash, did you end up wrestling for Thrash?
Yeah,
Because they're kind of
Thrashers were,
located out there too, right?
yeah. Well, they're located in Vernon, British Columbia. But
Okay.
but yeah, I would always wrestle with them too and whatnot. And oh, if you ever have a chance to get up there to do thrash wrestling, I would highly suggest that because I miss the thrash wrestling crowd up there so much.
Yeah, I saw a picture
Oh
from their show this past weekend, and their building was completely sold out. It looked
oh yeah
incredible. And hey, man, like you don't need to recommend it to me. I want to go wrestle everywhere. I would love to
yeah
go wrestle in Thrash. I mean, I'd love for me and you and Sid to go out there together, and
yeah right.
show up and you raise some hell with us as your boys. That'd be down.
See,
I'd be down for
well,
that.
the thing is up there, they know me as the ultimate underdog, like the good guy and whatnot, right? They don't know this they don't know my bad side,
Fair enough. Well, I
right?
mean,
So
we could be
it's gonna
the
be
ultimate
interesting.
underdogs, so the Canadian Goose and Chucky Lee Ray. Like we're a heel team right now, but I think we would be a very good babyface team as well
Yeah,
when and if that time ever calls for it.
right?
Yeah. So wrestling in BC and stuff. Did you ever were you ever afforded any opportunities to travel besides just coming to Alberta? Did you go and do any dates in like Saskatchewan or any other parts of Canada or the US, or have you wrestled in Japan or Mexico or anything cool like that?
Well, there's been opportunities like some of the guys that I've trained with was able to go to Japan and actually wrestle up there,
Oh,
but
solid.
I wasn't able to, which was sad. But oh well. There was one time in wrestling where I thought that I wanted to be done with wrestling and whatnot, right?
Fair enough. Yeah.
So I didn't think it was for me for a while there, and then
Was it
because
just injuries piling up or something?
well no okay well there's this one match in Big West Wrestling that I had where it was the Okanagan Cup tournament, and it was me versus Mad Dog Muddy Sugar, and I've totally freaking forgot my very first spot and everything. Just forgot everything
Spaced on it.
and accidentally stiffed him,
Oh,
and I felt bad ever since. And then I was just like, okay, I want to take a break and whatnot, but I didn't take a break
was he
from.
like injured or something? Did the match
No,
have to end right there or?
no, he wasn't injured. He was just really mad and whatnot,
Okay.
right? And so I was like, you know what? And I felt really bad and whatnot. And at that time, I was like, and so I was just like, I would like to just take a break, and whatnot, and do a bunch of refing and whatnot, so that way it could help me with my memory because I gotta remember the spots of the wrestlers and whatnot, right?
Mhm.
So
Um,
so so
did
I
he
did
stiff you
that.
back?
Hey,
Did he stiff you back?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
fair enough.
You should know how
Yeah,
receipts work.
yeah. Mm. So is that what happened? Is you ended up taking a little while off? Was it like a couple of months or?
Well, I took a little bit of time off to do refing and whatnot, and I don't remember exactly how long I was refing for, but until I thought I was ready and whatnot, then I went in and then uh, started wrestling again, and then everything's been getting a lot better. Sure my memory is still not obviously 100% the best, but I still do pretty damn good. Still remember majority of everything, and which is good. So
Yeah. I mean, when you go into your matches, like, I mean, and I don't mean to kill the magic, but everybody is aware that wrestling is a show. And oftentimes beforehand, the wrestlers talk to each other and we work out the plan for the match, right? Is that like generally how you do thing, or do you prefer to like call matches in the ring?
well. Usually, when going over matches, I prefer to go over it more than 2 to 3 times, if not even many more. Like even if it's like 10, 15 times or whatnot, so that way I can get it down. But like I'm more
Yeah.
like I've always been more hands on. So like if was able to say have a little bit of time to get into the ring to go over the spots, I'll end up uh, remembering more than if we just practiced in the back or just went over it so many times in the back and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
So,
Like, have you ever been put in a position where it's like you walk up to the guy and you're like, "Hey, bud, what do you want to do tonight?" And they're like, "I'll see you out there."
oh yeah.
Yeah. So how
Well,
did that go?
well, the the ones that did that, they've been in the business for a long time and whatnot, so they're just easy to work with and whatnot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like one of my biggest opponents that I really loved was Black Dragon,
Okay. Yeah.
and he's been wrestling. He wrestled with Chris Jericho. He wrestled in Japan and everything like that and whatnot, right? So
Mm-hmm.
and we didn't even really plan anything, and I just went out there, listened, and we put a banger of a match on, and worked out really good.
It's a whole different set of stresses though, eh?
Oh
Like
yeah.
for me, it's like, okay, I'll do it either way. Like we could go over the entire match, or we could go over almost nothing, and I'll do it, and we'll try to make it work the best we can, and usually it's fine. But like each situation has its stresses, because in one hand you're like, oh gosh, I hope I remember everything, and I hope I don't forget stuff or whatever. And then in the other situation, it's like you don't have anything to remember, so you're not stressing about remembering. You're just stressing about whether or not you're going to do something really dumb and stupid, you know? So
I feel you.
yeah, but like I say, I have fondness for both methods for sure, and I prefer just like I kind of like to have like a mix of both. Like I like to have some of the start planned out, and I like to have the ending planned out. But there's like a portion there in the middle where I'm like, okay, let's just have some fun and do whatever comes to mind at that point in the match, you know.
Well,
And
that's
then.
what. Oh,
Mhm,
sorry. That's why I like some matches that are like, say for good example, like hardcore matches and whatnot, right?
mhm.
Like a lot of that you could just easily just do whatever like outside of the ring when I don't. It doesn't really have to be much planned, and then by the time you get into the ring, you only have to be in there for maybe a good like 5 minutes, and then the match is done type of deal, right? Like
Yeah.
a lot of times there's not a whole lot of planning when it comes to like hardcore matches, and so like those are pretty fun to do, but.
I had a fun hardcore match. It was me, Sid, and Tony against Dead Zone. Or no, it wasn't Dead Zone. It was Tyrone Ironside, Vince Austin, and Danny Evans. And
Oh
it was
shit.
we basically they were like, yeah, just go out there and fight. Like that was the plan. And it was like, oh, we'll start it off like we're gonna do tag. And then actually what happened was one of the guys. And I'm not trying to bury it, but Tony forgot that we were supposed to start out in a certain way, and then he just clobbered Danny Evans right off the beginning with the belt, and it was like, oh, I guess it's on. Let's just fight, and that's so we ended up just fighting and fighting, and the whole match was completely on the fly, except for like one little part at the end where I think Sydney actually took like a fireball to the face. It was pretty, yeah, yeah, it was pretty nuts. I was like, oh, I believe Vince Austin sprayed hairspray and like lit a lighter and like flashed that into Sid's face. I was like, geez, that might not be the most safe way to go about that too, because like if that hairspray sticks to his skin or something and then you light it, you're gonna just light his face on fire, you know. But yeah, no, it ended up being safe, but it was a fun time. That was one of those. It's sketchy for me too, because the first time that I was ever in a hardcore match,
Mm.
it was like the third or fourth match of my career,
Oh
and it
yeah.
was completely like thrown on me at the last second, right? It was me versus Steven Styles versus Cameron Stevens versus the Canadian badass Bruce the Midget, right?
Mm.
And so we had a 4-way, and me and Cam and Bruce had planned some stuff out, and then like Squid came over, and like 2 minutes before the match, he goes, "You know what'll be fun? Let's make this a hardcore weapons match." And I'm like, "No, I have no idea how to do any of that stuff." And he's like, "Just do comedy, you'll be fine." And then I ended up getting whacked with a chair in the head during the match, and yeah, a whole situation came out of it. So like going into a hardcore match on the fly, I was something I was really nervous about doing like a second time, because it didn't work out for me very well the first time.
Mm.
But the second time it worked out fine, and so like it really was like a confidence booster. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's been one of your biggest confidence boosters? Because like I know you said you had your I mean you were kind of doubting yourself there, and you became a referee for a little while. Like, what was it where you were like, okay, no, I'm on the right path, and I can do this?
Well,
Was
when
there a
I
particular match or something that happened?
well, see if I can even remember back then. um, well, I remember after when I was done reffing, and I can't remember my first match back, but I do remember it was me versus this one wrestler named Todd Quality,
Okay.
and the match me and him had, oh, it was so much fun and whatnot, and being able to actually wrestle him and whatnot, it kind of got me the itch back, and when I would be like, okay, this is really fun, whatnot, and then just continued to wrestle more and more and more, and then my career was just getting better and better, and within 2 years of being in the business, I won my first championship.
Right
So
on. What was your first championship?
it was the Big West Wrestling Television Championship.
Solid. And tell me the story of like how that all went about. Like, when did you find out you were going to win the championship? Who did you win it from? Yeah.
At the time, Danny Deeds, he was the television champion at the time,
Okay.
and it was at Rutland Maydays again, the birthplace of Chucky Lee Ray.
Nice.
But yeah, anyways, it was there was like a battle royal and whatnot, and uh, early on throughout the show, uh, da- uh, Danny Dees had to get the title taken away from him, so it was vacated. Whatnot, and then the winner of this battle royal became the new Big West Wrestling Television champion.
Okay.
And so I can't remember what place I came in. I know it was close to the end, but anyways, it came up to me and Davey Deals, and yeah, how it basically ended is that he when he went to go to toss me out, he thought that he had me out, and my I'm just like dangling there, whatnot, and then it's like no, so I stand back up on the apron. He turns around, comes at me. I just go between the top and the middle rope, and then just toss him out like that, and then it got eliminated. Whatnot, and then I just flopped into the ring and won.
Solid. So you just like back body dropped him out of the ring. That's
Pretty much,
crazy.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was
That's
fun.
nuts. Yeah, that's a like I can't imagine getting back body dropped out of the ring. Oh boy, that'd be pretty rough. I don't like to take a back body drop in the ring because it's just. I actually separated my shoulder taking a back body drop once, and
Oh shit, eh?
so yeah. So it's kind of a frightening thing. Don't get me wrong. I have done it in training since then, but it's one of those ones where if it gets brought up, I'm usually like, hey, what if we do a hip toss instead? You know, like.
You know what? I've all the dumb moves that I've done in wrestling. I'm surprised knock on wood, surprised I haven't like broken anything or and whatnot yet. Because man, like we like to give the fans what they want and whatnot, right? And
Mhm.
we're there to put on a show for them. So I don't mind doing big moves here and there, but
Yeah,
sometimes I
and
just don't care, and then just do more powerful moves that like take them and whatnot just to get the more of a reaction and whatnot. And
yeah, you're definitely a gamer for sure. Like there, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't like refuse, but there's sometimes where I'm like, maybe something else might be a little safer, but still is impressive. But like, no, I like I'm not. I like I say, I'm not trying to make myself come across as like lazy or scared or anything. But yeah, no, that's absolutely like because like I mean we like you say we all have done things, and I definitely like I have broken bones wrestling and whatnot, and it really sucks. Like there's nothing worse than you get an injury. It's a real mind, like it messes with your mind, like you get depressed and like down on yourself about it. But
yeah,
these things come and go, and injuries heal and whatnot. So like all you can really do is just it's like I say, the mindset thing, right? Change your mindset
yeah,
and keep going. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. There was one move that I took that was probably the scariest move I've ever taken, but it just got the crowd over so freaking much. Well, not because I got the sympathy that I really needed.
Oh yeah, what was it?
Well, Davey Dios put me up on his shoulders, and he's like 6 something and whatnot, right? So I was
Hmm.
like in like the electric chair, whatnot. But he would like pick me up, so it's kind of like the last ride. But so like he would pick me up over his head, and then do like a sit down power bomb where I'm taking a big face bump and
Oh,
whatnot,
wild.
and yeah, and now like literally my head and whatnot, hair just flies back and just like it was scary, but again, it got a crowd reaction.
Good. I'm glad that you got a good crowd reaction. I actually, a couple of weeks ago, I was wrestling in Medicine Hat against Sean Martins, and at one point, like I say, this was one of those ones where not everything was really like planned out in great detail. So, I ducked a couple of clotheslines and give him a big crossbody, and then I went up to the ropes like I was gonna do a moonsault, and he got up and he grabbed my legs, right, but I had an injured knee, so I didn't want to jump off backwards and land on my feet. So I kind of just jumped out backwards, intending to bump, and I landed like on sitting on his shoulders. And it was so weird because I was like, oh, well, where do we go from here? Right. And he stood up and I was like, oh, no, like I'm either taking the electric chair drop like you did, or I'm going backwards onto my back. I have no idea what's coming. And then he started moving me and I was like, oh, he's giving me a one-winged angel. And sure enough, that's what ended up happening. I took a big one-winged angel and I was like, oh, that's like one of the coolest moves in wrestling. And it got a good reaction. Right. So yeah, it's a scary one for sure. You're going, oh, where am I going? Okay, cool. Yeah,
I know
but
it's a lot of it's definitely really scary to take big moves, but I was always told you just got to commit.
yep,
If you do not
100%.
commit, that's where the mistakes are going to happen.
Yeah, especially like I've done like the suicide dive a couple of times, and every time I'm like really scared that I'm gonna get, and I'm like, oh, but I'm just like, I said I was gonna do it, I'm gonna do it, and when you do it, you just gotta go for it, right?
Yeah,
So just go for it, and you only live once. Let's have some fun, right?
right.
Anyway, at what point did you get the call to come out here to Alberta and begin wrestling for RCW and whatnot?
Well, it was actually kind of funny when in April when I was on my way to Calgary, uh, again I get a message from Squig and whatnot, and it was like, "Do you want to uh, wrestle for RCW?" I was like, yeah. Whatnot, and then yeah, and had my first match, and when I actually went pretty damn good. I was really surprised and
Nice.
whatnot, and
Who was your first match in RCW?
Squig.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's great. I'm happy it went well.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun, and the main reason why I came up here too is because majority of my family is like lives in Brooks, Alberta, and whatnot, right?
Hmm.
So they're able to actually come up and actually see me wrestle and whatnot, which is pretty damn good. And oh,
So have you started residing now in Calgary?
well, that's where I live currently, and just been doing shows here almost like every Friday when they have them here and whatnot. I'm usually there every Friday at the Legion, and then every Saturday usually up in Edmonton there. And
Yeah, you've been around and you've been quite regular, and I that's another thing I appreciate about you is like, if your name is listed, like why we can count on you to be there. So
I try.
yeah, no, it is good. I like it. As far as like actual like wrestling going, do you think the cardio thing is still like your biggest struggle?
Well, I've gotten better, but my cardio is still not the greatest. Like the one thing that I probably need to work on the most is like my box jumps and whatnot, so that way I can, uh, because doing like like up and over. I usually have to like use the bottom rope to get myself over and whatnot now.
There's no
But
shame in that. I have to do that
yeah,
too. I mean,
but
oftentimes, like then like I hurt my knee back in October and kind of stopped doing anything that required me to jump up and land on my feet, just because that's
yeah,
how my knee has given out a couple of times, and it's really uncomfortable
yeah,
and scary. So but like, yeah, no, when I do the up and over, I always go off the bottom rope as well, and I don't think you need to feel any shame about that.
yeah. No, because like before, because when I first moved up to Kelowna, I was 220 pounds,
Okay.
and so I uh, took a personal trainer and whatnot at the World Gym up there, and
Awesome.
I was able to get down to 195,
Oh, good for you.
and yeah, I was able to do up and overs easily, in and outs really easily, and everything, and then
Huh.
just shit shit was going on in my life where in like my stepdad passing away, and then my niece passing away
Oh,
and
I'm
stuff
sorry to
like
hear all
that. So
that.
like
Yeah.
so much shit was just going on, and just been so depressed, and just haven't been in the mood to even go to the gym and stuff like that. And just been doing what I can at home, like doing push-ups and stuff like that. And but
Right on. Well, I mean, like you got to do what you got to do, right? Like,
yeah,
and at least like I think, I mean, I know for myself, like I say, like when I get injured and stuff, I go into like this depression, and like I have sort of peaks and valleys, like, and I feel like now I'm coming out of a depression, whereas the last like couple of months have been pretty. It's been pretty rough, just like personally. But this isn't therapy time with the Canadian Goose and Chucky Lee Ray. Uh, either anyway, but like I say, I'm happy now, because if things seem to be on the mend for at least myself, and I'm hoping to hear that you're doing well too, right?
oh yeah, oh yeah,
I weighed in today and I was 195. So I was pretty happy with that, because like majority of my life I've been well over 200 pounds. Yeah.
yeah.
So it's
I'm actually not 100% sure what I'm at now, but last time I weighed myself, I was about 210, but
okay.
now I don't know. So
Yeah. Well,
I
I mean,
it
it's not that bad. Like 210 is
yeah.
like you're not walking around looking like a barnyard or anything.
Yeah.
Although you do have the red tights. So
Yeah.
once you came in and you wrestled for Squig, what was the differences, the main difference that you spotted between working for RCW and working for Big West?
Oh, I don't know. It was just could tell that there were obviously two separate promotions and whatnot. And like up there, I actually was able to build my name up and whatnot, where I was well known there. Being in RCW for first time there, I'm pretty much back to square one, where I got to get my name out there again and whatnot, right? So
Hmm.
it was different and whatnot, but so far the way my career is going in RCW, I'm having fun.
Yeah, I'm
So
I'm having a tremendous time doing that too. And have you had any opportunity to wrestle for any of the other promotions in Alberta recently? Have you gone back to work with PPW, or done anything with MPW or any of those other federations in
well,
Alberta?
I did one show with Can-Am Wrestling,
Okay.
and then I also did one match with Pure Power Wrestling, which, oh, I was super nervous, but
Who did you
my
wrestle that
uh,
night?
Type A Michael May,
Okay. You
and
why were you nervous about wrestling with Type A Michael May? Was it just because you wanted to have a really good performance? And
well, um, I just didn't want to let down the promoter, and I was like really nervous, like to a point where I wanted to throw up and whatnot. Like I was that nervous
oh
and
boy,
whatnot,
yeah.
and being going up against Michael May, I also obviously didn't want to disappoint him and whatnot, and like I had a headache going out there and stuff like that, so I was worried about I was gonna screw up any spots and stuff like that. But no, everything turned out good. After the match, I felt 10 times better, and I was just like, oh, okay, I was dressing for nothing pretty much.
Right on. What is your favorite match of your career?
Oh, jeez.
I mean, if you got to, because you can't narrow it down, give me a top three.
Okay, well, there's this one match up in Thrash Wrestling. It was a 6-man tag. It was there's the 3 guys from Japan that came down to Thrash Wrestling.
Okay.
There's
3 dudes.
different. There's a I can't even pronounce their Dirtenbury Pro Wrestling or something like that is what their promotion's called.
Dead
But
and buried.
I don't 100% know the actual name. It's hard to pronounce, anyways. But
Okay.
it was
Did one of those fellas have orange hair?
Oh,
Just trying to think if these are the same guys that Danny brought in that one time.
one did have like it was a kind of orangish, yeah.
Yeah, was he a big guy? Like kind of like not a fat dude, but also not like a skinny guy?
Yeah, like he wasn't jacked, he wasn't fat, but he was like I'd say kind of like me, kind of.
Okay. All right.
Right?
Well, let's move on because I don't know what their names are. So
But
otherwise, I would shout them out. But so you wrestled these 3 Japanese fellas in a
yeah,
6-man tag.
yeah, it was a 6-man tag. It was and that was really really fun, and that's probably one of my favorite matches. There's that one, and then another one is when I won the Thrash Wrestling Tag titles. That one was really fun as well.
Yeah. Anytime you win a title, like it's hard to forget, right?
Oh yeah, and then I'd probably say the third one would probably be probably be the one that I mentioned with Black Dragon.
Okay. Right on.
Yeah.
I have you just because you've been wrestling out here in Alberta, have you had the opportunity to mix it up with heavy metal?
Yeah, I wrestled one match with Heavy Metal.
Yeah. How did that go?
I thought it went pretty good.
Right on. Right on. Yeah, he's like one of the best guys. Have you wrestled with MRB?
No, we've talked and went out in the back and just got to know each other, but never really got a chance to wrestle in the ring. So
I'd like to see that Chucky versus Chucky, right? MRB used to be called Chucky Blaze before he was
Oh, really?
MRB, and apparently it was because back in the day he used to look like the Chucky from Child's Play. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's funny.
one day I'd like to see the 2 of you guys wrestle. That'd be awesome. Maybe me and you and Sid, we can wrestle him and Taryn and Teve sometime. That'd be awesome.
Right?
I'd love to do that. Yeah, I'd love to mix it up. Anytime I get to wrestle with like talented people like, TFA or Teve or, MRB, it's always good.
Yeah.
I've only had like a couple of matches with MRB, but yeah, it's something I've gone from like being like, oh boy, I hope we don't mess this up to, oh boy, I hope we can have some fun and do some cool shit, So what are your is there anyone like I just mentioned you haven't actually had the chance to wrestle MRB yet? Is there of all the people in Alberta, who are like the top 5 people you'd like to have a one-on-one match with?
Top 5. Holy
Yeah.
jeez. Well, I actually
Just
really
like
got to
people
know.
where you watch them and you're like, okay, I could either I could have a really good match with this guy. I could either make him look really great or he would make me look really great. Like just when you as a wrestler see what's going on and see who's involved, like who are the people that you're like, oh, I really want to wrestle with this person.
Well, I know one for sure is TJ Cannon.
Okay. Yeah,
I
agree with
would
you.
love to wrestle him. Uh, um, I would like to wrestle Mars whenever I get the chance. That'd be pretty
Hmm.
fun. Um,
So far, the two year five are also on my list because I've never had a one-on-one match with TJ or Mars. I have wrestled TJ in the tag,
yeah,
but I never one-on-one.
yeah. Um, huh. There's so many good people out there, like good wrestlers. It's uh number three would probably be, yeah, I'd probably say maybe like MRB for sure.
Okay, yeah.
So that'd be number three, and then number four. Um, oh geez.
Have you had a chance to lock up with Son of Irish or Kid Chocolate or Jack Pride or any of those guys?
No, but Ian, I, like I said, I'd love to get in the ring with any of those guys and whatnot because they're just great wrestlers and whatnot, right? So
Hmm. I had a one-on-one match with Son of Irish. Um, so I can't technically put him on my list of people I haven't wrestled yet, but I would love to wrestle. But he is on my list of people I would love to wrestle because I feel like we had a good match. And I mean, we did it in a very small town in front of a small crowd, but I thought it was a really like I showed it to my cousin and he said it was one of the best matches he's ever seen me in. So like
yeah,
there's a part of me that really does want to wrestle Son of Irish again per hopefully on a big stage, you know.
yeah.
Have you put out any feelers to perhaps get into any of the other promotions around? Like not trying to get like not trying to say, oh, you're unhappy in RCW or anything, but have you reached out to like Love Wrestling or Top Talent Wrestling or anything where those ones where they have the bigger production values and whatnot? And
Yeah,
I'm not trying to insult RCW or anything by saying anything like that, but I just mean like it's very clear there's like big production value and internet exposure that comes with working for those type of promotions. Have you reached out to any of them?
well, talked to the promoter of Top Talent and said, well, one of these days I'd really love to be a part of the show and whatnot. But to me, I personally, I would like to work more on myself and actually get trained at like an actual school and whatnot
Mm-hmm.
because I never got trained at an actual school.
Okay.
So for me to feel better about myself and to get on like bigger promotions and whatnot,
Yeah.
I would like to actually, but
You want to get some more training in
yeah,
before, just so that when you do show up, it's you're not struggling.
exactly because I don't think 100% there yet, right? So
That's fair. Yeah. No,
yeah,
I
because
hear you.
like yeah, because I've been talking with Top Talent, like I said, uh, LPW. I've just talked with LPW just here and there and whatnot. It was nothing about being booked or nothing, but I was
Mhm.
still talking to them and when I can still get my name out there and whatnot. But yeah, I'd like to do more training and whatnot before I even consider on getting on with the bigger promotions and whatnot. So
I mean, yeah, that's totally fair. But like, I also feel like you need to have confidence in yourself, right? Like, I've seen
that's
you
true.
wrestle. Like, there's you would fit in just as good as anyone else on those shows, given what I've seen. Like,
No, don't get me
yeah,
wrong. I know I'll do good. It's
yeah.
just I want to have the right mind to know to go in there where because
Oh, no,
when people
listen. I understand where you're coming from. Like, it's a
yeah
confidence thing, right? Like, you're always going to feel better going into your match on Friday if you've put in training on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. You know,
yeah
like you're
well
always going to have more confidence had you done that than
yeah
had you not, because like you're just going to be
well
more ready.
it's not only that people will feel more comfortable wrestling somebody if they got trained at an actual wrestling school and know who they got trained by and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
if I didn't get trained out of national wrestling school, then it's like your opponent might be like, I don't know,
Okay.
right? Type of deal, right? So it just make me feel better.
So were you like
All
the
right, so
only student at the wrestling school when you were training in the bowling alley there in BC?
like I said, it really wasn't like a wrestling school and
Okay.
whatnot. But we still did stuff that would do in like a wrestling school, like did like drills and
Yeah.
basics and everything. So I guess could say it was a wrestling school,
Yeah.
but
And you had people that were trained teaching you.
oh yeah. Like
Yeah.
because the one who trained me graduated from Lance Storm's Wrestling Academy. Well, not right. So
Okay. Yeah. So but you're not like you don't consider yourself to be like a backyarder.
no.
No. Okay. Yeah. No, because like I mean, I've don't get me wrong, like I wasn't there when your issue with Marty happened, but I also haven't heard stories of you stiffing other people. So I
Yeah,
mean, I you don't strike me as somebody that's like dangerous or careless in the ring. You know,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
think
yeah.
that's if you're willing to put in the care, like, and the fact that you're like, oh, maybe I should hold off on top talent or love pro wrestling because I want to put more care and more effort into my presentation first, like that's admirable, you know.
Yeah, but like if the opportunity came around and one of them said, "Yeah, I'd like you to be a part of the show," I'm not gonna
Yeah.
turn them down and whatnot, right?
What about
So,
even bigger federations? Like, do you have any aspirations to one day make it to the WWE or the AEW or?
oh yeah, I'd love to hands down and whatnot, right?
Yeah,
But
I like who would refuse. Like, I think any one of us, like if they message like literally anybody that's a trained wrestler and we're like, hey, would you like to come wrestle for? Of course, like who's
right?
gonna say no? Like unless you're like already been in the WWE and you're a big deal, maybe then something like that's not gonna be something you jump at. But for somebody like you or I, like yeah, of course.
That's most of our that's the main reason why we started wrestling was we want to make it to the big leagues and whatnot, right?
Mhm.
So
What do you consider? Because I asked you what you found like the most challenging and stuff about wrestling, but what do you consider to be your biggest asset, your biggest strength?
my biggest strength, I'd probably say
Oh,
just
somebody's in the background there.
oh yeah, I'd probably just say the love I have for everybody that I wrestle, that I'm on the card with, and that I share the back room with and whatnot, and then me get the love back. So like I call everybody up in BC my wrestling family because that's
Yeah.
what it feels like. It feels like they're like a family. So I I always feel confident going into the ring with them when I because I got to know them on a good basis and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
So
And
so like
this is making my day here because like you're sitting here saying my biggest strength is my positive attitude and the gratitude that I have for being around the people that like for me, like anytime I've had like adversity in wrestling or heat with the promoter or anything, like at the end of the day, I just remember that the thing I love to do the most in my whole life is entertain people with my friends.
exactly.
So the fact that your biggest strength is a positive attitude, that does not offend me at all. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
See
because
and come on.
there's nothing worse than you go into a locker room where there's like known dickheads, you
Mm,
know. And guys it's just not fun to be around them, like
yeah.
that's you know uh, it's a real hardship sometimes, and don't get me wrong, like it's important to be able to absorb and intake criticism, like if somebody's trying to tell you, oh, that sucked and you didn't do that very well, like what you got to take from that is figure out how you can do it well, or maybe you're gonna change that up in some way to make it better, but like yeah, like yeah, whenever you get those people that are just haters, that's that's a rough thing to be around. And the fact that you just don't want to be one of those people, I applaud you because neither do I.
Yeah, see, and like going from a wrestling family up there to coming down here and getting to know the RCW crew and whatnot, you guys are starting to feel more like a family to me and whatnot too now, right? So like
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel more comfortable wrestling everybody in RCW. So, but when it does come to wrestling somebody new that I don't know or haven't really watched or whatnot, that's when my confidence isn't quite fully there
Yeah,
and whatnot.
I'm
But
always nervous every time I go out with somebody brand new because you don't know what to expect.
yeah,
Because like some guys you lock up with, and they're kind of rigid and stiff, and some guys are super loose, and some guy like everybody's just a bit different, and
yeah.
yeah. So I completely understand where you're coming from there. Um, Anyway, Chucky, we are approaching the end of the interview. Where can people get a hold of you? I know you have also got some merchandise available right now, so
I
why
do.
don't you plug the merchandise and whatnot, and let's hope that this interview can score you some T-shirt sales.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the best way to get a hold of me is definitely on Facebook. I got my wrestling page. It's just Chucky Lee Ray on Facebook. It's easy to find me. If you need a shirt or any merch, just message me on there. That's the best way to reach me. I do have Instagram, but I don't really use that as much for like messaging. But you could always message me on there. That's just my shoot name though, which is just Charles Trevisano. Um, but yeah, that was really the only two to really get a hold of me on and whatnot. So,
How much can people expect to have to pay if they want to buy a shirt?
well, if come to a show, it's $30 for the shirts that I have right now. But if I have to ship out, it's 45.
Oh,
But
okay. So
yeah,
just a flat rate. That's all right too, because I mean, yeah, for sure. Um, for flat shipping rate, that's interesting because there's places where it might cost you $20 to ship, but you're kind enough to do it for 15. So I
yeah,
yeah, and I have seen your merchandise. It's pretty cool. It's like black shirts with like blood on them, and then it's a
blood splatter.
CLR.
Yeah.
Have you gotten any? Has anyone from calcium lime and rust been like, hey, you need to have they given you has anyone given you like a talking to or a cease and desist?
No, just wait though, because my next shirt idea might be a little knockoff to them, but we'll see.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Chucky Lee Ray, it's been a pleasure having you on the show. I think the only way we could have done this any better is if we had Sydney here with us, but
Yeah,
we'll have to do that another time, man. We'll
that
have
even
another
be crazier.
episode. Yeah, for sure. Thank you very much for coming on the show. Thank you for letting me second you guys to the ring last week, and I'm very hopeful that soon, like within the next couple of weeks, I'll be able to tag up with you again, and we'll be able to go out there and drop some more guys with our pretty cool Gory Bomb Sister Abigail combo thing. Yeah,
And sooner or later, in the near future, we might be tag
yeah.
champs too, right? So,
Yeah, watch your backs there, Rich King and T.Y. Jackson, and you never know. I mean, we might show up somewhere else too. I would love to show up at a Love Wrestling with you, and I heard they got tag belts coming. So, but I again, I'm not gonna book here, sit here and try to book myself into stuff that I have not had cleared or anything. So, but hopefully soon, because
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you again for coming on the show. This has been Monday Night Shaw. I'm the Canadian Goose, Kyle Shaw. My guest, Chucky Lee Ray. Have a good one, and we will see you again in 2 weeks. And yeah, as far as t-shirt stuff goes, you can also purchase my t-shirts through Redbubble. So just do a search for the Canadian Goose on Redbubble, and you'll probably find my store with a lot of cool shirts available. Thanks again for coming on the show, Chucky, and
Thank you.
I will see you hopefully this weekend. Are you going to be wrestling in Mundare?
I don't think so. I didn't get told nothing yet, so
Oh, okay.
probably not.
Well, it's a small little show, I'm sure, but it's going to be a good time. So,
Oh yeah.
if I don't see you there, I will see you shortly in the future.
All right.